Happy Friday. It's your girl Tamika L. Sims here.
Voice change.
Because I say Tamika L. Sims. It's your girl Tamika L. Sims here. Okay, y'all
Yeah,
like
that's
that?
that's
Happy Friday, y'all. Let me bring it on back. Happy Friday, y'all. What's up? What's happening? What's going on in your world, in your neck of the woods? How has this week been for you? So, we are back with another Starve Talk Live. If you don't know what that acronym stands for, I'm going to give it to you right now. Like to hear it? Here it goes. Starve, stand tall, and reclaim victory every day. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. Stand tall and reclaim victory every day.
people in the back.
For the people in the back. My back, not your back. Just kidding. So, but yeah, girl. Yeah, so it's just, I can't get into my thing.
I
Happy
mean,
Friday.
you so used to talking to your girls,
True.
and you just like really trying to go there. And I just been listening, like, what's up with your voice? Like, let's go. I'm sitting there like, oh, okay. So, but you gotta
Listen.
let people go. You gotta let them, because you need the natural stuff to come through. So I'm just sitting back, like, yeah.
Okay, that's what we doing. I got you, girl.
I ain't gonna get in your way.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I'm
So
not gonna get in your way.
I'm going to go ahead and share this out to folks in our private community. Shout out to I Won't Starve Nation. If you are not a member, go ahead and make sure you click that button to join us. It's a private community, and we want it that way. Actually, we were asked it. Well, he was asked to keep it that way. So we're very happy about that. Y'all said y'all wanted a private community where we can share and be open. You ask, we deliver, okay? But listen, I want to know how your week was. I had a very good week, Jay. So tell me how was your week? And as you guys are coming on, say hello to us. We got a good topic of discussion on today. So come on in, say hello to us. Let us know how you're doing, how you're feeling, what's going on in your neck of the woods. How's it hanging? But I'm going to pause for a minute and I'm going to let Jay go ahead because I got to reel
How,
it in
how
a
was
little
how
bit.
was my week?
How was your week?
Man, my week was fast. Went by quick. I just came off of my little mini vacay. And yeah, man. Like it just seemed like it just flew on by. You know, I put my head down and got to work.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is Friday, all over again. Last Friday I was twinkling my toes. So it is
Twinkling.
Friday all over again. But nah, so just busy. That's what I would say about this week. And a lot of stuff went on. That's what we're here to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I don't get a chance. I don't take many vacations like that because I travel anyhow. So and usually it's for my entrepreneurs. I understand how this thing works. Usually, yeah, I got something to do business wise. I'm taking the whole family with me. And we going to a certain kind of place. All right, yeah, we're gonna build in this work and this vacation all around. So to be able to get away for a hot second and not focus on work was cool. But this week, right back at it, and it's been very productive. Way to end off June in a very very productive manner. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. So today's special for me, right? So what happened a year ago on this day is I released pre-orders for my new book.
that thing went by so fast.
Didn't it?
Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to Ink Pen Diva, the truth behind my pen. If you don't have your copy, make sure you go ahead and cop that, inkpendiva.com. But yeah, showed up
How
in
you
my
feel
face.
about that?
I don't know how I feel about that, Jay.
Why not?
I mean, I'm excited about it and I'm grateful because, for me, when anniversaries, memories show up, you just have no choice but to like go back and look over it again and, kind of remember where I was and, what happened. It was just such a pivotal moment because writing that book was so powerful. Like you told the stories of all the tears. Good morning, CL. You told the story of like all the tears and all the that changes that I went through. So when I got to pre-order session, it was like, phew.
But you've done phenomenal.
Thank you.
The book is a phenomenal book, and I'm not you know, eh, I curbside seat, but it was
Supposed to play one on one.
Yo, man, I'm glad to see you up and about. I had sent you a message, but I knew you was out of pocket, man. Charge it to your head, not your heart. But man, I'm glad to see that you doing well and you back in the game. So good to have you, brother. But yeah, man, you've done phenomenal with the book.
Thank you.
I remember doing your photo shoot, and we both out here in the West new, and we're just doing what we've been doing. And to be in a new place, a new market, and this is your highest selling book to date.
Yes.
It's definitely it's a thing, man. It's a big time thing. So I salute you.
Thank you.
I'm waiting on the next one. I know you were complaining like I ain't want to do it. I ain't want to do that one, but you can't stop because as much as people you are helping with their books, they got to keep seeing you perfecting the craft, using the craft. You know what I'm saying? Building the craft, because that's where you can be the best coach that you can possibly be. I wanted to give up entrepreneurship because you work closely with me. I'm interested. I'm investing, and my goal is to be a full-time investor. And but I did my people a disservice. I was going to do my people a disservice because me being a coach, I'm able to stay up on what's going on. I'm actually able to help them. Now we're leading going into this AI piece, going into a lot of people want to be self-employed. A lot of people don't want jobs. A lot of people, I got to be on the cusp of all of the new stuff so I can help the people that I help as a coach. So us as coaches, when we take on that responsibility, we got to understand it's not just about us and what we want. So I encourage you to keep on writing, keep on doing what you're doing. So
I appreciate that.
Enough of the mushy stuff.
Enough of the mushy, because that's not what we're here to talk about. Y'all. So we're going to talk today. The Supreme Court has been very active this week.
Yeah.
Okay. They have been on one. As a matter of fact, right before we got on this video, I saw that they were doing evacuations at the Supreme Court because of the ruling and what's been happening. So in case you guys don't know, hi Latasha, hey Laura Shay, thank you guys so much for checking in. So in case you guys don't know, we're talking about the affirmative action ruling that came out of the Supreme Court. Was that yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, yesterday out of the Supreme Court. And of course, it sent the country into an outrage. So we're going to dig deep into that and kind of look at what that means for us now, as well as going forward, because that's really, that's what this platform is about, right? S.T.A.R.V.E Talk. So stand tall and reclaim victory every day. So we're going to make sure that every time we're producing a live stream, that we are leaving you guys with that notion of how do we take what's happening today and then reclaiming the victory going forward. So affirmative action. So the Supreme, do you want to do?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So the Supreme Court issued a ruling that made it law, I guess, is that what happens? It becomes law, where race will no longer be a, requirement?
They won't be using race to gauge equity and inclusion and diversity when it comes to the universities. The ones that were number one on the docket, I think we're talking about Harvard and University of North Carolina. But so affirmative action has been around for a long time, and a lot of people didn't like it. I don't think a lot of people that benefited from it even understood it, especially in these last couple generations, millennials and now Gen Z. I don't think they really understand that. Maybe I think before that, Gen X and baby boomers kind of understood the benefit of it. but I think that the millennials for the most part, and the Gen Z at all don't even realize what that was and what was going on with that. And so now, um, with them striking that down, the Supreme Court striking it down, it's we I believe, and a lot of people who were for it, which I mean it predates me. I don't let me preface my statement by saying, me being an entrepreneur and me teaching entrepreneurship, I don't rest on somebody giving us anything. I want us to take it. So, but when it comes to education and these schools like the Harvards, you heard people talk about how you had to have a certain amount of Black or Latino students there for a diversity piece. Mm-hmm. Now that's not going to be the case anymore. Only way you can use your race to get into one of those schools is within writing your essay. And if you show how your race impacted you that much and you were so miraculous that you were able to, even through your race, even through the adversity, you was able to get to a point where you are now, and they should take you in there. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think on the surface it looks bad. It is bad. But for me personally, this is me personally. We have to stop thinking that what somebody else has is better. Everybody wants to go to Harvard. That's $60,000 a year, when they can go to another school that's $10,000 a year and get a good education. But they're breaking their neck to go to Harvard or to go to this school or that school. And primarily, I'm talking about people of color. Like it's 100 million schools out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, go to another school. Go where you're wanted. Not where you're trying to fight your way into. I want my children to go where the people want them there. They don't have to sing no songs, dance no jigs, do anything like that, because their audition was how they performed in high school. And they already have the SAT or ACT test. I'm cool with the essay. You want to get to know who the person is. Mm-hmm. But again, I believe that if a student performs at a high level in high school and they can go and take the test that you guys deemed for them to take, that they deemed sufficient enough for them to take, and they score and they perform at a high level, they should be able to go to the school. Period. No matter who the child is. And it should be a first come, first served basis. Meaning, if you only have room for 10,000 freshmen, and now the parents and the kid didn't do what they're supposed to do with financial aid, they didn't apply to you fast enough, they didn't do all, fine. You missed the boat. Miss Harvard, go to Princeton. You missed this, go to that place. When you start thinking about, period, where the kid comes from, mm-hmm. if their parents rich, if this, that, like, it's already discrimination. Mm-hmm. Now, let's go back a few years. I think this is prior to the pandemic. Now, this is why I say what I say, because these were white people. So we can't just talk about Black people or brown people. These are white people who were going to jail, and because they were doing these scams to get their children into these schools. Some of them paid more money than their whole 4-year education was going to be for the kid to run the scam for them to get into the schools. And some of them did jail time. So it is terrible what's going on with this school situation. The money that they're making, what they're putting parents through, and the subsequent businesses that have relationships with these higher educational spaces where they're funneling the kids from these places. So you're saying, okay, with my big prestigious law firm, I'm only going to take lawyers from Harvard. So kid want to work for your firm, they have to go to Harvard.
Right.
And so like these things are actually happening when it's thousands upon thousands of schools that these kids can get sufficient education. Not to mention, don't get me started on you can get a skill set and do your own damn thing.
Right.
But that's just me. But
speak the truth.
This is what we're dealing with right now. And this happened in education. So now you got to see, how is this going to trickle down in corporate America? Mm-hmm. How is it going to trickle down in the job market? That's what we got to look to next.
Yeah, those are very powerful points that you made. And one of the things that I said to you yesterday is, this is just, because I am a Gen Xer. So I grew up during the time where, there was all this conversation about, affirmative action. There were, because Black people wanted, and, I'm gonna say Black people wanted equal access to the same things. And under affirmative action, there was a certain quota that had to be met. All right, boom. So cool. But what I see happening now, especially in our educational system, and as Jay said, as this, leads into other entities in this country, is that thing that came to my mind was segregation. Because, it's just reminiscent of what our school and what our educational systems looked like in the 50s and 60s. And so that's the one thing that came to my mind. And of course, now I'm a product of growing up in the deep South. So, there were certain things that I experienced even growing up in the 80s that were reminiscent of that as well, and particularly in the school system. So that's the one thing that came to my mind, is because here you had something that at least made it possible for students, if they wanted to go to a certain place, to be able to do so. Now that possibility is removed, unless, as Jay said, the person really puts in that energy and that effort. They do what they're supposed to do in order to, if that's the path they want to go down that path.
I just don't. I mean, if it's going to be a segregation piece, I think it's come from a financial space. Mm-hmm. Not. It's like this. Mm-hmm. As I said, we have to stop thinking that what we have is less than. Mm-hmm. And this is anybody, because what I've learned as I've gotten to a different stature in my life, I started making acquaintances with other individuals that's from other races. And so I start to realize that they're dealing with the same things we're dealing with. You understand, you think about the neighborhood that I live in now, I see a lot of individuals that don't look like myself at the bus stop with their kid going to the public school, when my kid lived in the same neighborhood going to the private school, right? So it's a difference. Yeah. It has nothing to do with that, but we were all there. They're like, hey, well, I want to go across the street to so-and-so's house because they think that their house is better, and that's people. You start to see people go through the same thing. Only time you start to see the real segregation, when you got to choose sides. You know what I'm saying? But when you start seeing people in their element, everybody's going through the same stuff. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? In the Asian community, white community, Latino community, it's usually when this choosing a side, I'm a rock with my people type thing, as opposed to, I'm worried about them or not worrying about them or that community of people. I'm trying to stop the community of people. Some people are literally like, oh, I don't know why she spent that type of money on this. And you think that we was just the only ones talking about that. Right. But no, they're like, nah, I got a fake bag. She got all them bags, and that's why she should get put out her house. Like you start seeing them. I'm like, oh, so you're just like me. I grew up the same way. Like, but you just don't know that because we're not around. So we judge everything from what we saw. And so I don't feel like it's like that. I just feel like what you got to act your wage. You got to get education on your wage. And now again, I'm not saying you can't get no scholarships, and by all means, but it comes in as a parent. You got to be like, if this place don't want my child, nah, we can't send. Don't send your child to some place where they're not wanted. Mr. Hissam, we have to stop doing that. Yeah. It's not like like back. See, that's why I say I don't agree with the like back in the day because it's way more options.
Yeah.
For every kid who Harvard doesn't want, it's 1,000 schools that will roll out the red carpet to that kid and their parents.
Yeah.
So how do we change the narrative so to stop chasing? Because they're overpriced. You know what I'm saying? They mistreat the kids in certain instances. You've heard these stories.
Yep.
But we still rushing to give them the money.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that bugs me out. Like, it's 1,000 schools, and I'm not saying the school on the side of the road. If you got Harvard grades, it's a big Division I school that's going to roll out the red carpet for you and your parents to come there. If you got Harvard grades and you will qualify for Harvard, and they're going to love you being an alumni, and they're going to treat you well. They're going to do everything for you. And not just here in America, all across the world. If you got Harvard grades and you're qualified to be at Harvard, it's thousands of universities that's around this world that would take you with open arms. Why are we continuously trying to fight to be in places where you're not wanted?
That's a great question and also a very valid point. So it just, I don't know if it's, see, and for me, Jay, it's like that mindset, that mentality has to come from someplace. I feel like it comes from the parents, because we put on, sometimes as parents, we put on our kids maybe an opportunity that we didn't get or something that we may have missed. And so it's like, oh, well, if you're working really hard, because think about it, if a kid has straight A's all throughout high school, they're 4.0 GPA or better, they scored the highest on the SAT or the ACT, naturally, in a parent's mind, I think their educational track only leads them to certain places.
Yeah.
So they're not, they're not thinking about, oh, well, there is another college or university, four-year institution out there that's just as good, that can still give you the same level of education, but not just the education, the relationships, all right, that we are very big on the relationships, the connections, the opportunity to network, that that are still just as valuable, just as good relationships.
But you feel like you belong.
Great. Yeah,
that you feel like you belong. You're not there fighting for that.
Correct.
Your whole 4 years.
Right.
You're not acting. You're not sitting there with your head down. Like, college is supposed to be where you go and express yourself. You learn about yourself in high school, and you go to college to express that. You know what I mean? Express yourself.
Yeah.
And you learn how to, you should be having situations where you learn how to be an adult. And so you shouldn't be worried about trying to fit in. Not with you already worry about fitting in with the students. You shouldn't be having to deal with that with the everybody else in the hierarchy and the teachers and the professors and all that other stuff and the staff. No, so, but parents have to be involved in this process. We have to start thinking about what we really can afford and what we can't afford with our children, and then also getting to know who your kids are. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times people can do school, but they can't do life. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna put down a t-shirt. That's
it's just the truth. Yeah. Like, people do school, but they can't do life.
Right.
So, and one of the main reasons is because in school, in the end, what you need to do to get what you need to get. In life, it doesn't work that way. There's a lot of us that's probably on here or going to hear this that have done everything they felt like they were supposed to do and didn't get what they were supposed to get. But in school, that's probably going to be one of the last places where you can perform at a certain level. You get straight A's. You're supposed to get this.
Right.
And you will get it.
Yeah.
But when you get out of school and go to the real life, it doesn't work that way. You've worked 5 years for a promotion that somebody else got into. And you did way more work than them. You performed at a higher level. You still didn't get that promotion. It's frustrating. You thought that you were going to own your house by the time you were 30. You didn't own a house till you were 40. It don't work that way. You know what I mean? No matter how hard you were working, right? So life is different. And we're supposed to be preparing these babies for life and using school as that conduit. So I want my kid to go to a school that's going to be close to that as possible, what they're going to be dealing with. People who they can make lifelong friendships with. I don't want them to be in a space I was just here for 4 years existing because I just want to say that I went to Harvard.
Right. Right.
But you can't go back to Harvard and hang out. You can't go back to a Harvard homecoming and celebrate. And you're not welcome there. And this is not me preaching HBCUs because I went to a college. I didn't go to HBCU, but I went to a college with five. I was in a town with 5 colleges, and they're 5 4-year colleges, and only 2 of them was HBCUs. But every college in Columbia, South Carolina, enjoyed their homecomings. And we go to University of South Carolina homecomings. The white and black people and purple and beige and green and everybody else people look forward to USC homecoming.
Yes, Lord.
And we was in there and it was good. Like they, and people were in South Carolina, hey, they wearing USC. It ain't USC California. We call USC in South Carolina. USC. And they love it because they make them feel at home. They're proud to be a Gamecock. Where we live now in Nevada, oh my God, send your daughter to UNLV. Don't send her away, send her to UNLV. What's wrong with those schools? So it's not just me trying to send people off to HBCUs because you go where you feel comfortable.
That's right.
But there's nothing wrong with UNLV or University of South Carolina. Or some of those other schools that are prestigious schools, that's good schools, that's going to be like, yo, I love that kid. And we're going to wrap our arms around that kid and give that kid love. And we're going to be happy to have him or her there. And not charging the parents $60,000 a year. So, we have to, we really be like, we get beat. And then we turn around, and say, thank you for beating up on me. And I'm going to send you my child to beat up on, and I'm going to give you my money to do it. You can't do that, man. You can't do that.
So let me ask you a question, because something came to my mind as you were speaking was, do you think that because there seems to be a push for certain, institutions educationally, that's in their mind, they think that that's their way of leveling the playing field?
Oh, you talking about the education?
Yeah.
I don't think it's leveling the play. I mean, you gotta look at Roe v. Wade just got overturned. Here, this go right here. Joe Biden's, we ain't touch that, but the student loan situation just got struck down. Man, it's a lot. You know what I mean? And a lot of things, they just on one. It's just on one. And, a lot of things that was done back in the day is being fixed or changed now. And we got to live through that. But the world is not the same. People are not the same. I don't never think it's going to ever go back to what it was. So people say that other garbage. I don't believe that. Because we've got an opportunity to spend too much time with each other. And we start to see that it's not having anything to do with the color of people's skin, which makes them, because it's been years now where black, white, brown, Asian, whoever, kids are going to school together. Right. Now, parents can be tripping all they want to, but that white kid and that black kid is like, yo, that's my guy. Right. We have fun together. He's the nicest dude I met. He's the nicest dude I met. I don't know what you're talking about, mom and dad.
Best friend.
But that's my dude. Yeah. That's my homegirl right there. And so when they start having babies, they're not going to be having babies talking this garbage. It's just some people with that old, mindset got to die. And that's, harsh, but they got to die out. And the people who they're pumping that crap into got to die out. And the people like those kids got to go and run for office. And they got to take their open mindset and true understanding of people are people and, bring that to the forefront. And then you'll start to see the change. But, this stuff don't take, 5 years. This stuff takes time. Sometimes stuff takes generations. It's our job to teach our kids right from wrong first. not all this garbage, because these people don't focus on what's real no more. What's real isn't important anymore for some reason. So, but we have to teach our kids what's real, and we have to teach them right from wrong. A bad person is a bad person no matter what they look like.
That's right.
Because you're gonna find some people look just like you that's horrible, and you're gonna find some people that don't look like you that's horrible, and put them all in the same category. So that's just that. And so I don't think that everybody's on that, but politics is a different mindset.
That's right.
Like these, and that's why our system, our government sucks, because it's all about the political ideologies. Is not what's right and wrong. Because what's right, and not just because I'm saying it, and this is biblical, this is common sense. I'm educated, you're educated.
Yeah.
I'm cool with Harvard being a high prestigious school.
Sure.
I'm cool with all that. So, what is the criteria for you to get into Harvard? This is the criteria. Bet. If they meet it, they should get in. Don't look at a picture. Don't look at nothing. If they meet the criteria, they should get in. What's the criteria for scholarships? All right, they meet that, give them a scholarship. If they don't meet the criteria for scholarship, they can come in. Can your parent afford to pay for it? If they can't, fine. If they can, fine. As I just said about 10 minutes ago, I didn't remember seeing a Spanish or a black family on those lists of people who was paying $200,000, $300,000 to these people to fake test scores and fake what's it called, stuff like that. So we're not the only ones being getting hit from this garbage. Right. So I'd rather deal with the facts. I can easily jump on my soapbox and say what they doing to black people. I did not see no black people in that. These people are paying this money more than what the kids gonna have to cost. What it's gonna cost them to go to school 4 years just to get them in there for the privilege to pay them. Why? You already rich. Send them to a school and put them in the family business, whatever you're gonna do. I don't know, but why am I paying you $500,000 to get my kid in the school that I'm gonna have to pay another $250,000 to get them out of? So I'm paying it down $1 million just to say my kid went to this school. I don't understand that.
And what's crazy is
access. Yeah, you're right, Lima.
And what's crazy is they being arrested and going to jail. So I mean, the kids ain't even enjoying what it is they set out to do.
Yeah, but the sad part about it is, right? Yeah, Lima said something crazy. She said access.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm a millionaire and I ain't got access. Help me out. Because in order to pay 300 bands for your kid to get into a school, not to tuition, you should, that means you're a millionaire, right? So you a millionaire and you still don't have access?
She said nope.
Woo, woo. That's a whole nother conversation.
It's crazy.
That's a whole nother conversation because I thought when you get to the bag, everything's supposed to be all right.
They be lying.
Now you still got to pay. So that means you were corny from the door. Because these people just don't want you. You got the money. You can afford to pay. And they still don't want you or your baby. Ooh, that gotta hurt.
Yeah.
That gotta hurt. Yeah, and no, I'm with you 1,000%, Lima. You're absolutely right. It's about the relationship. But we need to say that loud and we need to let people understand and know that because we are guiding people the wrong way. That's why my whole point is stop taking your people and your kids where they don't want you or your kids. Because if you can afford to pay for your kid to go to Harvard or one of these prestigious schools, and they don't want your baby, and your baby got the grades, oh my God, that means you don't want me, and I don't want no parts of that. I walk into your store and I'm trying to pay you for my food, and you don't want to take my money. I don't want to give it to you no more.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it to you no more.
But for some people, though, that's what they put their stock into.
Ooh, that's
You see what I'm saying? That's what they put their stock into. They put their stock into a certain thing, or if it's like Lima said, with access or whatever it is, whatever we've deemed to be important. That's what we put our stock into. Now you can pay to get wherever it is that you want to be. You can pay to get whatever it is that you want, but
but keep going. They couldn't though.
All right.
They couldn't. Go ahead, finish. I just want to say they couldn't. That's the thing that's bugging me out.
You know, then the other thing we learned too, Jay, is that people be lying. People be lying. Like they really don't, like it's not what people say it is. And I think we learned that with Kanye West. Him been talking about being a billionaire. As soon as those contracts were gone, his wealth was cut in half, what, by 50%? You really don't have it. And I don't know, I'm not counting nobody's pocket, but I'm just saying it can't be what we think it is or what people are saying it is if certain things are still not happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think that what it really is that money don't make you, because if you're a cornball with beforehand, when you get money, you still gonna be a cornball. And some people might deal with you, but the majority of people are still not gonna deal with you.
That's right.
And you'll probably have to pay for access. And then if you get to a certain level, as Lima said, but you don't have a relationship, even you still won't be able to pay for that access.
Oh, wow.
It's a millionaire walking around right now that still can't go to a Jay-Z function because he don't know you. And so for me, I've always ran away from those places and people that did not want me around. I can't do that. Because once I got a taste of what real love looked like, and when you pull up and people show you love, like you don't want nothing else.
That's right.
You don't want nothing else. And so when my kids come to my college and see how I've been treated at my college, they're like, yo, I want to go to college. Now, they might not go to my school, but that made them want to go to college because they saw like, oh, dad get love out here. I want them to get the same love I got at my school. I want them to get the same love. I don't want them going someplace they just there and they just taking my money. Ain't nowhere in the world. Because they would never get it. They would never get a quarter from me if I know that we just giving them our money. I don't like transactional arrangements. I've dumped potential business opportunities because it was too transactional for me. I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm not nobody's paycheck. You ain't waiting on me every 2 weeks. That's not who I am. You know what I'm saying? So I have something to offer. I have something to bring to the table. And then that thing is my baby, and it's one of my prized possessions. Hey, he or she is going to make good on this campus. And she's going to be a valuable asset to the family of y'all alumni. So you can't just treat him or her like it's just something. Nah, not mine. It's enough schools out here. I need my babies to be courted.
Yeah.
Hey, we want your child. Not we, hey, how can I wish my child might be sitting around stressing out about can't get to a school and I can afford to pay for it. You smoking. It's not gonna happen. Never gonna happen.
So I gotta bring this up. HBCUs, particularly for our community.
Mama McGee, hey, Cal, what's up, dude? What's going on?
Is because we do see, I have seen, of course, after this ruling came out on Instagram, particularly, and I actually went to high school with a gentleman that's now president of a HBCU. So, you see that now you're seeing the conversation in the language. Well, if they don't want your kids, send your kids our way and we'll take care of them and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, saying that at the same time, now I don't know, how, because I went to HBCU for a little while, didn't graduate from there, but that's neither here nor there. Okay.
You got your degree. Stop acting like
I did get my degree. Yes, I did get my degree.
Just didn't graduate from there.
Just wasn't from there.
Graduate from somewhere.
But, there doesn't seem to be that same sort of love for HBCUs, because HBCUs for the Black community, it was about the education for us, but it was also something else. It was culture. It was history. It was, all of those lessons and stories and things like that was put in us that helped shape, those that graduated from HBCUs into a different space. But now, like you were saying, it doesn't seem to 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 be that way anymore. So do you think now there's going to be more conversations happening, especially in Black households, where they're going to say, hey, this is going to come back on the table again? Or what do you think that this, what does this mean for the state of the HBCU?
I think it's an opportunity for them to potentially take advantage of, but they got to step it up. They got to step it up. Gone is the day of you just going there just because individuals said, or legacy, family, all that other stuff like that. And what happened in yesteryear. Like, you got to produce. You got to produce, and you want to be treated like a business. You got to run it like a business. So got to make sure the dormitories are what they're supposed to be. You got to make sure there's opportunities for these children when they're done with school. You got to make sure that outside of homecoming and being able to come at when you pledge a fraternity or sorority or something like that, that is a good look. Make business relationships. I know when I graduated school, business school department had a setup with the I forgot what it was, the naval audit, I believe, in DC. And then they had another one with the Social Security office in Baltimore. A lot of kids got jobs immediately graduating from there, going right to the DC, Maryland area. You got to make those relationships.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to make those relationships. So some of the people that was there at the time, they bust their ass to do that. They're no longer professors at my college anymore. Some passed on, some went to other universities, but they did break their neck in the business department. I think Dean Smalls is still there, so shout out to him. But we had a community of individuals in my, major that was breaking their neck to make sure they had great relationships with major organizations so that our kids can be pipelined and funneled into jobs. If they do that and keep doing that across the board, I think that it won't be no problem, So, but lately I've seen a lot of scandal, a lot of garbage. You saw the rats in the dormitories and this and all this, and how people living, and losing accreditation, which that's always a thing. It's even worse because now with social media, because they would say that, but everybody has to go through the process to be reaccredited. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's accreditation comes up. But when it comes to the HBCUs, being honest, they just because they're going through that process, they losing their accreditation. No, everybody got to go through that. There are people going to come through your school, going to look at it, do all the other stuff, check everything out to make sure that you can stay accredited. So every time that they go through that process, stop telling people that the school about to lose their accreditation. Knock it off. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has to go through that process. Yeah. So, because they used to say that about my school, and I was scared to death. Like, man, I'm sitting here, and my degree ain't gonna be worth nothing. Like, nah. And that never happened, and I've been out of school 20 years and it still hasn't happened since I've left. So I don't know what happened before I got there, but I know it's been good and my degree has been A1. So it is what it is. But I think they just got to step it up, man. You can't rest on the laurels thinking that the baby's just going to fall in there. Right. And then I think that another opportunity that HBCUs have is in the sports arena. A lot of kids go to, especially African-American kids, go to these big name schools because of sports.
Okay.
And so, if they step their sports game up, they hire people that can make those relationships in the sports arena. I think it'd be a dope scenario. Kids wouldn't mind going there. And I'll give away an idea because I'm not going to do it, but I'll give it away here. I think if the HBCU community created a professional football and a professional basketball league, even baseball league, they came together and created a professional basketball, football, and baseball league, it would get a lot more kids to come to HBCUs. I'm not saying it has to rival the NBA, MLB, or the NFL, but if the kids can get a check, a significant check playing, and they're getting picked from that circuit, kids will run to HBCUs because they can always go to the NBA.
Right.
They can always go to the MLB. They can also always go to the NFL, but you start there first. Because if they can't, because the numbers dwindle so much. I mean, it's something crazy like um a million kids or certain crazy 100,000 kids that's going in high school. Then it's down to like 3 or 4,000 kids in college, and then it goes down to like a couple jobs or something like that. I forgot how it broke down. It's like everybody's going. It's like 76 positions or 36 positions that's going to be in the NBA for these thousands of kids that's in high school. But if they have, which they have now, they have other things where they can go and play ball for money. And they can still be moving and developing, but they're doing what they do. If the HBCU community got together and created that for them, people that kids that came out of HBCUs, that hey, they can go straight into the HBCU, whatever, football, basketball, and they get the check, not 80 million, about 80,000. You know what I'm saying? Because you're sending them out there to get a job for less than that. Right. So give them 80,000, they stay in the best shape of their life. They're doing what they love, and then they good. So give them a check. That would change the narrative. But that's the idea. Y'all can take that. Whoever's gonna do that
and run with
it. Even if it's a 3-on-3, like with Ice Cube got the big three. Basketball, do HBCU 3 and funnel them into the big 3. Like it's so many business waves that they can do with that if they thought about it and if they wanted to really retain the kids. But they're playing that the lottery game too. Maybe we'll get the kids, maybe we won't. And you can really go ahead out there and make it happen by making some adjustments and some changes. When you go back to a school and the locker room still look crappy, like the same way they look when you were in school, and you know what time it is, and people don't want to send their kids there. It's like, I had to do it, but I don't mean you going to go.
Correct.
So it's just different situations. So I'm off my soapbox, but that's some of the things that they can do with HBCUs to help out.
No, I think that's great. And I like the ideas. I think, the point of it all, what you're saying, what I took away from what you're saying is that, you have to be intentional. If you're intentional, you put in the effort. And, when it's time for visits and things of that nature, when you're out in the community and you're doing your recruitment and things like that, they'll be able to see and feel that energy. And then it makes it more attractive to say, oh man, yeah, I want to go to, this college or that college. And so, it's about administration and, the powers that be and all of that. It all trickles down. It all has to work hand in hand and work together. So, I think like you were saying, I definitely believe that there's an opportunity as well in that realm. But we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, just really from what, we've been talking about, you guys, for those of you that's just joining, we're talking about the affirmative action ruling that came out of the Supreme Court. And it has, certainly been a hot topic of discussion and conversation. And so we definitely, want to make sure that we are always having those conversations. That's what this platform was created for. S.T.A.R.V.E Talk, stand tall and reclaim victory every day. So we're going to make sure that when Jay and I do these weekly lives, that we're leaving you with actionable steps, that we're bringing those conversations to you so that we can have open discussion about this as well.
What's up, Uncle? Uncle Will had to say.
So Uncle Will said, man, I've been reading the rulings from the justices, and I must say conservatives' game plan to get the majority during the Trump administration is doing what they intended it to do.
Yeah, and you absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
So I have no rebuttal to that. It's working. And I mean I didn't used to pay attention to politics like that, but boy, man, now that I actually know what I'm looking at, I'm like, this is getting more and more scary.
And that's such a great point, Will, because I think as more and more of this is being made public, of course, it's always been made public, but as we're starting to pay attention, like I really want us to pay attention. I really want us to keep our eyes open and be focused on the stuff that's really important, that's going to impact our everyday lives that we now see every single day. Like we get so caught up in the trivial matters and the things, just one little simple thing that comes up on social media, whatever the case may be, can completely turn our attention. And we have things like this happening in our world. Right. So I want us to start paying attention to what's going on. Tap into the news. I don't like watching the news like that either. I know y'all don't either. You got to give yourself a little 30-minute, little episode in the morning. You're getting ready, getting dressed. You know what I'm saying? The kids are out of school, so they ain't bothering you. You know what I mean? But as you're getting up, getting dressed and getting yourself ready to go to your job or whatever the case may be, have the news playing in the background. Like, keep your ear to the ground so you'll know what's happening, so you'll know what's going to impact your family, so you'll know what conversations you need to be having in your home, right? So this is about conversations. This is about education. We got to make sure that we're aware so that we can teach our children, and on and on. So, that's my biggest thing, is that, I love that we've been having these lives. We've been doing them for several weeks now. We're going to continue to do them, but I love the conversations that we've been having. We're not afraid to tackle the hard subjects. We talk about the issues that may be sensitive, and we're not going to not do that. So, disclaimer.
Nah. All right, so when we come into a close, let me close with this. The word affirmative means supportive, hopeful, or encouraging.
Mm.
I'll read it again. The word affirmative, one of its meanings, another one, so being fair, is agreeing with or consenting to a statement or request. But the second one is what hits me when it says supportive, hopeful, or encouraging. I don't think it's been a long time since I've seen things on the news that come from out of Washington, D.C., that says anything that has anything to do with supportive, hopeful, or encouraging. And when you say stuff like that, only thing we can rely on is what we're going to do for and with ourselves. At the end of the day, no matter what color you are, we have to live with each other. When Tamika say watch the news, you have to pay attention. In France, a young African boy was just killed by a cop. And they're burning this place down. And it's not just black people. It's right outside the suburb of Paris. They're burning buildings. A bunch of people were arrested. About 70 something cops were put in the hospital. Because in other places, people understand that certain things aren't right. Yeah. And so when you know that, when you can look on that news and you see protesting and people going crazy and they look different, they come from different places, they seeing support, you become hopeful. And it's a way for you to become encouraged. Because somebody gets it. Somebody might not be in this country, but in the world gets it. It's not right for you to hurt a teenage boy. They even said that immediately that the cop is under investigation for a criminal act. It's not taking 100 years to figure this out. We talk about the guns and everything that go on in this country with the guns. Okay, because I don't have a problem with people having guns. I don't think everybody needs an assault rifle. That's not true. But nobody's saying anything about that. That's not hopeful. It's not supportive. It's not encouraging. And so now to tell us that it's a chance that kids are not going to be able to just bust their ass and get straight A's and be able to pick and choose what school they want to go to because they performed at a high level in high school. I'm not encouraged by that. I'm not hopeful about that. And most importantly, I don't support that. We created a platform so that we can be of inclusion of everybody. We're inclusive. We don't want nobody's kids, because it's hard to be a parent. No matter what you look like, it's hard to be a parent. I don't care if you got a bunch of money. You got a bunch of people with money, kids are strung out on drugs. Kids are doing stuff they ain't got no business doing.
Yeah.
I help these kids. I've adopted a school, and the school is not predominantly Black. It's predominantly Caucasian and Hispanic. And these kids are going through it, not because their parents are broke. So people are going through it with their children every day, no matter what they look like. And as a country, we have to do our job to help out these parents by making it easier on these kids. We have to make sure these kids understand that their work is not done in vain, because the way the world is now with social media and everything like that, if you do have a child who is putting on and doing what they're supposed to be doing and performing at a high level, for them to feel like they did that all for nothing, and that thing that we've been lying to them about, saying that they can be whatever they want to be, they can do whatever they want to do, and they find out that they can't do it after they did everything they were supposed to do, you're going to have a hard time on your hand, and we're going to have a hard time on our hands dealing with those kids. Because once they link up and they start believing that everything that they're told is a lie, they're going to show out. And they're not scary like our generation or generation before. They are going to show out. And it's not going to be Black kid against white kid. It's going to be Black kids and white kids against our asses.
Yeah.
Because they're going to feel like we led them astray. We lied to them. We didn't do what we were supposed to do. We did not protect them. We did not provide for them. We didn't do what we were supposed to do. That's what we got to look forward to. If we don't do what we're supposed to do for these babies and keep our word, they take it seriously. This is why kids are leaving church and don't want to go to church. This is why kids are talking back, because they're not seeing, and I'll use my guy Ron Harvey saying, our audio is not matching up to our visual. They hear us doing a lot of talking, but they're not seeing it. And they're not trying to hear that crap, y'all. They're not. So I think we should smarten up, get our stuff together. And, we can't control what happens on, the, what's it called, Supreme Court. Because most of the people there ain't got to be there until they die. When it's time to come around, vote again, do the voting. Yeah. But you can't control what goes on in your house and in your community. Yes. So get out here, do what you're supposed to do. Don't just think about your kids, think about everybody else's kids as well. And, we have a job to do. And don't get caught slipping. Like T.D. Jakes says, in his book, if you will put the microphone in front of your mouth, don't drop the mic.
No, that's right.
Don't drop the mic. Do what you're supposed to do. That's my closing, y'all.
I appreciate it. I ain't gonna do like they do in church and come back after you.
The second closing, the third closing.
Yes. And but anyway, so I put in the comments for those of you that's watching this live as well as in the replay, to just tell us one thing going forward you're going to commit yourself to doing, right? So even if you don't say it by the time we end this broadcast, think about it. And when you think about it, once you have your thoughts and once you've determined what you're going to do, then we want you to put it into action. Like, let's start in the home, right? Let's start in the home. Let's do what we need to do going forward, okay?
Mr. McKnight, I want some of that food, brother. I want some of that food.
So, yeah. So, again, keep your eyes open, pay attention, and then start having some necessary discussions in your home. Thank you guys again for thank you guys again for joining us for another edition of S.T.A.R.V.E Talk Live. We do these weekly. And if there's something that you want us to address, let us know. Slide in my DM, slide in Jay's DM, and let us know kind of what's on your heart, something that you think would be beneficial to the platform. And if you're open, we'd love to have you join us on one of those live streams as well. We welcome those opportunities. This is about connection and relationship and us doing our part to move our people forward. All of you here are our people. Okay.
Definitely. Hey,
They're all our
go
people.
over to I Won't Starve Nation on Facebook. If you are a business owner, you're someone who looking for a community of individuals who want to support you as a private community, go over to I Won't Starve Nation and go ahead and go click on the link to become a part of it. And also go to youtube.com at Starve Talk. I think it's no longer a slash. You got to go to YouTube and go to at Starve Talk and subscribe to the Starve Talk page. We have videos out every single day. This will be on there as well.
I put the link in there.
The link is in the bio, and you will see the Starve Talk podcast. We have amazing guests. If you have that type of
hey, Mr. Willie.
Mr. Willie, how you doing?
Balling up in here.
That's one of my guests right there from last year. Go get his book series. Yeah, definitely. So if you want to see some amazing guests, some amazing stories, Stand Tall and Reclaim Victory is definitely a movement. This is what we're doing. We are looking for those individuals. You don't have to be a celebrity to come on with me. I want to hear about your story. I think we need to let everybody know who have been through the fire and came out, just like what gold and everything else that's been built in the fire. You know what I mean? So I want to talk about those stories. So, hey, God bless y'all. Enjoy y'all weekend. It's about to be an amazing weekend.
Holiday weekend.
If you traveling, be safe. Get out here fast. Hopefully you in the airport already waiting on your plane, listening to us. Don't get caught in traffic. Oh my God, get out of there. Be safe. It's hot. Shout out to my people in the South that's going through the heat wave. Be careful. Oh my God, be careful, y'all. Y'all, they said some parts of Texas have 100-degree weather for 15 days straight.
Oh my goodness.
So be careful to you guys. Stay cool. The people in the northern portion of the country, again, I'm from the Northeast. Be careful with the air quality up there that you're still going through that in Canada. It's coming down from Canada. Y'all be safe. And let's get through this weekend, man. Look forward to seeing y'all next week. Y'all have a good one. Much love. Peace.